Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Monday once again, and we're doing a movie.
Yep.
This is kind of a random ass movie, but I had kind of heard people talking about this one. It's kind of old. Well, it's not old, but I mean, it came out like 12 years ago, I guess. It came out in 2013. And I had heard some people talking about it. I'm not usually a big, like, sci-fi kind of person, but I had heard that, like, that a lot of people thought it was, like, kind of underrated. And they had it on Amazon Prime. It's a Blumhouse. And I don't think Tom liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
The trailer looked interesting.
I didn't love it, and I didn't hate it.
The trailer looked good. I was like, man, this is probably going to be a pretty good flick. And just couldn't pull me in. I realized what I was watching is I was watching a rip-off of Signs with fucking Mel Gibson.
It's kind of like Signs. Although, I will note that I didn't really like Signs. I liked this better than Signs.
Okay, I didn't like either one of them.
I don't like Signs.
Yeah, I didn't like Signs. I didn't like this one. I thought it... And the thing is I really couldn't... I couldn't blame, the quality of the movie. It was shot real well. The acting was good.
Yeah, it was good actors in this.
Yeah, it's a well-made movie. It's just the story. I just didn't find it to be a compelling story. I thought there was a lot of suspense, a lot of build-up, and not really a payoff for me. I'm like, okay, there's aliens in the house, and then you don't find out much about the aliens. That's just like Signs.
Yeah, I think, well, the thing that I liked about this one, you don't really see a lot of alien movies that are like this one. This is kind of more like you said, along the lines of Signs or like Close Encounters, or, I mean, these are baddie aliens, not like Close Encounters, but ones where it's grays and there's actually like a thing where they're like abducting people. You know what I mean? Like, not like Communion or anything like that with the vacuum cleaner up the butt or anything. It's nothing like that, but
How dare you?
But it. Please tell me someone's made a GIF of that. Yeah. I really need to find that. I keep meaning to look.
Walken going, "How dare you?
How dare you?"
It's
like
after that
sticking that thing in his
vacuum
booty.
cleaner hose went up his booty, and then he looks at the alien and goes, "How dare you?"
Or I guess kind of like Fire in the Sky, because this is kind of more grounded in stories that people have told about being abducted by aliens.
It's Whitley Strieber shit.
But that's kind of what I liked about it, though, because it's really, it's almost like the first part of it, like, it's aliens because it's called Dark Skies, and it's listed as sci-fi, so you just assume that it's aliens, which it is. But the first part of it is set up almost like a haunted house movie or like a poltergeist movie. Like, I've seen this described as Paranormal Activity, the movie, but with UFOs. And it's kind of like that. It's not found footage. I think it was initially intended to be found footage, but it's not. It's just a regular movie. But it does have an aspect of it where at some point they don't know what's going on, so they put cameras all over the house, like, to see if they can catch, like, whoever it is that's coming in,
Yeah, they think it's like a bear at first, and then some poltergeist shit happens where it's stacking a bunch of shit. That scene was actually pretty cool. Where they had some paranormal stacking. I mean, they stacked some shit that you just couldn't stack that shit. But they stacked it, and it was a wire going through it, I'm sure. But that scene was pretty cool. It's just like I said, there wasn't anything wrong with the movie other than the story. I just didn't really like the story.
It's pretty low key, and like I said, I usually prefer that because even though this is Blumhouse, which usually is very, well, not usually, but I guess a lot of them are kind of CGI heavy and very jump scare heavy. This one is not really like that. Like, it kind of has a couple, like, sort of well-earned jump scares, but it's not real Blumhousey. Like, it's pretty restrained.
Blumhouse kind of earned my respect over the years, seeing them in the theater. For a low-budget theater, or what do you call it, a studio, they come out with some pretty cool shit. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just like anything else. They're not all going to be winners. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of them, they have a formula they go by, but it's like, that's okay.
Yeah, they're not all going to be winners. But even the ones that aren't winners, they're okay. You can watch them.
Yeah.
And you can see them in the theater, and you don't feel like you wasted your money. You'll probably forget about it. Didn't Blumhouse make the one about the evil Superman?
What, Brightburn?
Brightburn, yeah. Wasn't that Blumhouse?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so, but I could be totally wrong.
Okay. That was a good one. It was kind of like a low-budget movie that was horror. I thought it was a really good idea. And then they hinted that there'd be a follow-up. Evil superheroes.
Yeah. Like there's a series kind of like that called The Boys.
Yeah.
Which, along those same lines, I think.
Yeah. These are much worse, though.
Yeah.
Serial killer, sexual, psychopathic fucking little boy. He's like Superman, but he's worse.
Yeah.
He's like evil and shit. Kills his own mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does all kinds of... And at the end, they hint there's a new one has arrived, or another one. Remember they showed an explosion on the side of a building and something fucking flying out of it? There was a universe where there were no superheroes, just supervillains.
Yeah.
They were like paranormal or aliens and shit. But they never continued it. So I think that might have been a Blumhouse. I think.
I'd have to look. Like I said, I don't think it is, but I could be totally wrong about that. Because Blumhouse, they're just a production company, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like and a distribution company.
Yeah.
They just have kind of a model where, you know, they just let the filmmakers do what they want to do, and their whole thing is like, you know, not much budget, and hopefully like a bunch of people go see it. And I think this one, I'm not sure how much this one costs to make. Probably not too much, because it's not, like I said, it's not real reliant on special effects or jump scares, nothing like that. Like I said, I liked that it was restrained, and I liked that it was more set up like a haunted house movie at the beginning. Like it was almost like they had a couple things in there that were almost like Poltergeist, like the movie Poltergeist, especially like the stacking and all that kind of stuff, which I thought was kind of cool. Actually, and I was telling Tom like early on in the movie, I mean, like I said, I already knew it was aliens, but if you didn't went in not knowing it was aliens, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on? But there was one great scene where, like, a couple weird things have happened. Like, the wife wakes up. It's Kerry Russell plays her. And she goes downstairs, and there's just, like, the back door is open, and the fridge is open, and there's just, like, shit everywhere. And so, like, she thinks it's a bear at first, as you would, because the bear came in and ate all your shit. And then she sees the weird stacked shit, and she's like, well, clearly a bear didn't do that. But she thought, like, maybe one of the kids did it as a prank. But then when she comes downstairs, like, another time, they have like all these family photos like in frames and stuff like all over their shelves, and all the frames are still there, but all the pictures are gone. Like, and that for some reason that really creeped me out. I said shit like that, like real low-key shit, is way scarier to me than like some big witch thing jumping in your face.
Maelstrom in the chat said that Brightburn was Screen Gems and some other studios working together. Okay, so thank you. So we got a real movie savvy audience, so they, you know, a lot of times if we make a mistake, they'll chime in. I thought it might have been Blumhouse, but maybe we saw some Blumhouse movies around that same time.
We did. We saw a few in the in the theater. They put out a lot.
Yeah,
but
Screen Gems fucked up, man. They didn't make a.
I don't think it did well enough to justify.
Didn't do well enough. Okay.
I think that's all it was.
It was great in the theater.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked it. Yeah. So. Florence says, I saw this movie ages ago. Whoops. Ages ago. I thought it was alright. As flawed as Signs was, though, I kind of prefer that. No other movie has Joaquin Phoenix with a Hershey's Kisses aluminum hat. That's true. Tom Baker says, Fire in the Sky was based on a true story by a drunk. Yeah, that's true, too.
Fire in the Sky was a better movie than this.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, it had more payoff. You got to see the inside of the fucking alien spaceship and the shit that happened to him. What was that guy's name? Fucking... the guy who got abducted. Fucking anyway. Based on a real case. Whether it really happened, I don't...
Travis
Walton.
Walton, yeah.
Travis Walton.
Yeah.
It's a wild tale. He was gone. He was somewhere. They passed lie detector tests, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean...
Who knows? Maybe the dude giving the test was in on it. I don't know.
Yeah, who fucking knows? I don't know. Yeah, Tom Baker said, I liked Under the Skin, also from 2013. I liked that too, but that movie was weird as fuck. A lot of people have said about The Fourth Kind also. I've heard mixed reviews. I've heard like either, wow, this movie is really good and really underrated, or this was the stupidest thing ever. So with no in between. That's pretty much. So one of these days I'll watch it. Like I said, sci-fi is not usually my thing, but for some reason, we were actually, the first movie we were going to watch Leviathan from 1989, which I have seen before. I actually saw it in the theater. And I think maybe Tom had seen it before. And then we were going to watch that. But then we were scrolling through, and I was like, well, that looks pretty good. And I've kind of heard that was pretty good, like Dark Skies. So I was like, why don't we give that a watch? It's shorter than Leviathan anyway. So you know what I mean? Florence says, I tried showing Under the Skin to my mom, but she thought it was a weird movie. So we stopped halfway so we could watch The Babysitter with Samara Weaving instead. Well, The Babysitter is also a great fucking movie. And the second one is also good. Babysitter 2, Killer Queen. That was also very good. Let me see. So yeah, So what happens in this movie? Okay, so we have like a family, just your standard, like I said, poltergeisty, Steven Spielberg-y, suburban, middle-class family. Mom, dad, 2 sons. And they kind of introduce a lot of stuff at the beginning where there's like a lot of tensions in the family, like before shit starts, you know what I mean? Like, the dad, I guess he's unemployed. I don't know how long he's been unemployed. The wife has a job. She's a real estate agent, but you're led to assume that they're not doing well. Like, their mortgage is way behind and all this other kind of stuff. So there's all this kind of tension going on. They don't have any money, and he goes to some job interviews and he whiffs them. And so it's all this thing. And then all this weird shit starts happening. Like I said, the first thing that happens is you could write it off as a bear, right? Like, the fridge is open and there's just like food and crap all over the kitchen. And the door is open. So they figure it's an animal. So they call, the cops, and the cops are like, well, there's no sign of forced entry, blah, blah, blah. Eventually they end up getting an alarm system, and the alarm system keeps going off. And in fact, the second time it goes off, the alarm system people, when they call them on the phone, they say all 8 entry points were breached at once. They're like, so obviously that has to be a malfunction, right? Because that couldn't possibly happen. So then all this other weird shit happens. Like, there's like the mom like goes in the kitchen one night, and all these cans and bottles and stuff are stacked in this, and it makes like this crop circle-y kind of light deal on the ceiling, like a reflection. Like, so there's that, and then the pictures disappear, and their youngest kid, whose name is Sam, he's about how old? 5? I think he's 5. And he starts acting really weird and kind of spacing out. And he's saying that there's something called the Sandman, like, coming in his room. And he's saying it's the Sandman because, like, his older brother, whose name I can't remember, has been telling him, like, scary stories at night, like, over a walkie-talkie. So he's just saying that that's what it is. That the Sandman's coming in his room at night. And so they don't believe him at first. They think he's just having nightmares. And then, like, he starts spacing out, and like he's in the park one night and he just starts screaming his head off, and like he pees himself and all this other kind of shit. So finally they're like, well, obviously we need to take him to a therapist because there's something wrong with this kid. But then the mom goes into the kid's room at night and sees one of the fucking aliens, like, but really quick. Like, she goes in there and it's dark, and it looks like this long it looks like a gray, but it's not little. It's like long and spindly, like with a big alien head. And it's pretty creepy, actually. That was like a good scene.
I thought it was kind of generic looking.
Well, it looks like a gray. I think they were trying to make it, like I said, like realistic. Like, because, accounts of people that have been abducted by aliens, which I don't believe, obviously. But I think they wanted to make it as similar to that as possible. Like, to keep it as realistic as it was possible to make it. Because all of the shit about, and they even say stuff about like implants, because the dad has this thing behind his ear and he can't figure out what it is. He thinks it's just like a bug bite, and he keeps like scratching at it and shit. And then he starts spacing out, like he wanders out, like they start sleepwalking, and like the mom like loses like 6 hours one day and starts freaking out and like banging her head on the glass, like while she's showing a house to somebody, and like all this other kind of stuff. So it takes a while, like as is usual in these kind of paranormal type movies. The mom gets to the point where she's like, well, this is fucking aliens, clearly. Like, because she saw it, you know what I mean? In the room. And of course, the dad is a real shithole about it. Like, not believing her. Like, we're not crazy, and like, it's got to be another explanation and shit like that. And she's like, what the fuck? Other explanation? Because there possibly be. And so she starts researching and stuff, and then she's like, we have to go see this guy, like this expert, and see if he like knows what's going on. And that was a good scene too, because even though J.K. Simmons plays the expert guy, and he's great, I like him and everything, and he's really only in one kind of extended scene where they sort of give a background on the aliens.
That's the dude that played the fucking newspaper boss in fucking Daily Planet, right?
I think so. I mean, he's been in a million things.
What's his name?
J.K. Simmons. No,
yeah.
the character.
The character.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember. But so they go see him, and even though his apartment looks like your stereotypical, tinfoil hat wearing crazy conspiracy theorist person, and he's got like all these cats, he plays the role like super restrained. Like, he's very serious. He has like all this gravitas, and you'd buy it. You know what I mean? He doesn't come across like a nut or anything like that. He knows that these fucking aliens have been here, that they do this to people, and there's not really much you can do about it, and he's just like telling them how it is. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm talking about. His name was J.J.
Jameson, yeah. In Spider-Man.
In Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, that's right. Isn't he in those... Wasn't he in those like fucking insurance commercials too?
I don't know.
What fucking insurance company was that? Travelers or I don't remember what it was. But he was in like a series of commercials like fairly recently for some insurance company. But so I thought that was really cool that could have been a character that you easily could have been like, you know, all wild-eyed and like fucking there's not insectoids and all this other kind of stuff. But he's just very, very low-key and chill. Like almost like he's just seen it all fucking before. And he's heard this story before. And he has this whole checklist. And he's like, so did this happen to you? And they're freaking out. Like, how do you know all this shit? And he's like, yeah, this kind of shit happens all the time. You know what I mean? So, but he basically tells them that, and I kind of liked this too, is that there really aren't any, I guess once the aliens kind of decide that they're going to take one of your people, there's not really much you can do about it. Which is kind of horrifying, you know what I mean? So I kind of like that it went that route where it wasn't just... Because they do have like a big standoff at the end where they, you know, board up the house and, you know, Dad goes and buys a big-ass shotgun and, you know, it's like, we're going to stay up in the room and you're not going to get our kids and all this other kind of stuff. But it kind of doesn't end up like that, which I thought was kind of ballsy. I thought it was kind of a ballsy ending. Well, it's a little bit bleak.
If they're aliens and they have the ability to go extra dimensional and shit, you're helpless.
That's what I mean. Well, I like that they did that because I think like a lot of horror and sci-fi movies, like Signs, for example, it's like, oh, we spilled water on them, and that made it's like that water, so
they don't have water where the aliens
fucking
come from.
Stupid. That it's like that is just like the stupidest thing. So I like that this one, the dude, like J.K. Simmons tells them, he's like, look, these aliens have been here a long time. We don't know how long they've been here, but they've already invaded. The invasion has already happened. And they do this kind of shit all the time. We don't know why, because they're a superior intelligence. They just like to fuck with us or test us, or we don't know. But they're just doing this stuff, and they've been doing it for a long time. And basically he says every now and then, if the aliens get fixated on your family, like, you can make it so much trouble for them that they'll just piss off and bother somebody else. But he's like, usually not. And he has this big fucking wall, like, in his apartment with all these, like, missing children, like, fucking articles and stuff like that. So I kind of like that it went that more bleak route, because if that was true, if Greys really were visiting Earth and for whatever reason just wanted to fart around with people, there really wouldn't be much you could do to fight them.
Yeah.
You know, so I like that it went that route. It made it a little bit scarier.
If anybody can pop in and out of dimensions or do things like stop time, you're helpless.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing you can do.
And that's kind of like what this movie shows, so I kind of liked that they went there.
Yeah.
Because it would have been easy, especially after that setup of him saying, oh, maybe you can make it so much trouble for them that they'll go bother somebody else. So you were kind of expecting it to go that way where, they fought them off at the end and they're like, whew, they'll go fuck with the neighbors now, I guess. You know what I mean? But it doesn't really go down that way, so I thought that was kind of cool. And it had like a slight, I don't want to say a twist ending, but it ended like slightly differently than I thought it would, which I thought was cool. But I don't know. Like I said, it wasn't a great movie, but I can see why a lot of people, because I was on a Reddit thread earlier with people talking about it. It's like, oh man, this was so scary, and it's like, it's so underrated and stuff. It did have some really creepy scenes in it. Like the scene where they come down and like all the pictures are gone. The one scene where the little kid, and I think it might have been a dream kind of, but like where the little kid turns around and his eyes are gone. Like the one where the wife like goes out in the yard and the husband's standing there like with his mouth open, and it's like that was pretty, and his nose starts to bleed. That was pretty freaky. And like the first time that they see, that she sees the alien like really quick in the room, like I thought that was really good. So there was like some really creepy scenes in this, but I can see how critically this got very mixed reviews. Most of the reviews I saw of it, like kind of, professional critics and everything like that, were like, it's okay, but it's really like derivative of like lots of other sci-fi movies, and it's like they kind of steal stuff from other, like a lot of them said, the acting is really good, which it is, and the idea is really cool because you don't really see a lot of this sort of grounded Greys abducting family members thing. It's a little bit more uncommon than like just a straight up alien invasion type of movie. So I kind of like that they went that route with it. But I can see how if you're wanting something that's just like a big fucking alien battle royale or something like that,
That's what I'd rather have.
It's so I can see if you're into more of that. This, I don't even know. I'm not gonna say I wouldn't call it a horror movie. I would call it more a sci-fi suspense thriller.
Yeah.
I would call it. Like, it's not overblown horrific. There's some creepy shit in it. And it definitely has horror elements. But I think it's mostly suspense. Like, it builds up, like, a lot of suspense. And you might not like that. Like, you might think it's kind of slow or dragging or something like that.
Not a big payoff. You know what's coming. You know. That's
I can see that. I can see that.
And for me, like I said, it's a well-made movie. The acting's good. It's just, this movie just wasn't for me because of the story.
Yeah.
Some people might really like it. If you liked Signs, you'd probably like this. I hated Signs. I just hate that concept. You know
yeah, I didn't really like
Signs. An alien in your house, and he comes and goes, and he's watching you. Big fucking deal. I just don't fucking care. You know what I mean? And you can't really do anything against it.
Except spill water on it.
You know, if it were my movie, I would have flipped it around and made it something kind of fucking playful and adventurous that you're going to actually get the upper hand on these aliens. It had more of a fantasy element to it. Like fucking, you know, Cowboys versus the Martians or some shit like that. Cowboys versus Aliens. What was that movie?
I think it was Cowboys versus
Aliens. I'd have had something like that.
I remember that being kind of fun. So it would have
been real fast-paced and fun. That's what I would have done.
Yeah, this is definitely a much more... Yeah. This is a very serious film. Yeah. Doesn't really have any humor in it that I can remember, or not much humor. Definitely has a lot of character drama. You know, with the stuff about the dude, like, not having a job and, like, all of that kind of tension. And then there's, like, the teenage kid who's hanging out with this kind of shitty hooligan. And, like, also there's a little bit of a... I don't even know if I'd call it a side plot, but there's, like, a little bit of a thing with, like, this girl he has a crush on and stuff like that. So there's a lot of, like, family drama that's, like, set up. And then very slowly, like, just these little weird things start happening. They get, like, weirder and weirder, like, as the movie goes on. So, like I said, I don't mind a slow burn. So I actually like that kind of movie. I like that more than something that's, like, screaming in your face every 5 minutes, because that just gets annoying.
But I think a lot of this had to do with budget.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure what the budget is. This made about $28 million, but I think it made a profit. But, because usually Blumhouse productions are... I think they try to keep it under 10 mil.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this one was one of those or not.
Yeah, so they were kind of limited with what they could do.
Yeah.
But they did a good job with what they could afford to do, you know, like the little stunts of the stacking and the pictures being missing. And, all that shit was effective. You could have fucking gone this route, but then in the end done something kind of like... Turns out that the aliens were living underground in an underground complex that they built down there using some unknown technology. And it had been like that one... movie fucking from that one director. Remember that where your doubles are all living down underneath the fucking ground? Us, yeah. I mean, it's something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fucking we're now
that Jordan Peele movie.
Now Jordan Peele. But now you're down in this fucking
the
alien.
Tethered.
You get to see the aliens where they live, and they're underground. You know, underneath your house, and they're experimenting on people. It's not just you; it's other people too. You know what I mean? And then you somehow expose them or destroy them. That's the way I would have gone, but that would have cost a lot more money.
Yeah, like I said,
that's why they didn't do it.
This one, like I said, they kept it real grounded. It wasn't super CGI heavy. I mean, obviously the aliens were probably CGI, but they didn't have most of the creepy shit. Was stuff like, you know, weird stacking, like Poltergeist with the chairs, like, you know what I mean. It was shit like that. Which, like I said, that's simple, but a lot of times that's a lot more effective than a bunch of CGI crap. So in that regard, I think they did a good job, if not having like a bunch of money or not using a bunch of CGI, and making like some scenes like really creepy. But like I said, if you're not really into all the character drama and all this, because there is a lot of that. It's not a long movie. It's only like 98 minutes, or no, not even. I think it was just under an hour and a half, maybe. So it didn't really drag for me or anything like that, but I can see how somebody wanting something more over the top or something scarier or something like that. But like I said, this was kind of more creepy than scary. Like, some of the scenes were legit creepy, but there's a lot of character drama in there too. So if you don't really like that, then... And I did think the ending was even though the ending went in a way I didn't expect, it was slightly abrupt. Like, I didn't expect it to end. I was like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? But, you know, but I guess that's okay. Like,
for me, it was just too derivative. I knew what was coming, and I knew what was going on. And
it does borrow from a lot. Like I said, it borrows from Signs. It borrows from Paranormal Activity.
Even Close Encounters.
Close Encounters a little bit.
Because the little boy said something fucking. He said, "What is it you saw?" He says, "Ice cream." You know, well, that's from Close Encounters when the fucking
comparing fireworks to ice cream.
Yeah, comparing ice
cream. Well, that
cream.
was deliberate though. Yeah. Like they were making a deliberate
I saw where they were coming at. Yeah, there's little Barry and fucking. In Close Encounters is out there and the damn UFOs go over his head. One of them is shaped like a ice cone shape, and he goes, "Ice cream."
Yeah,
I remembered it as a kid.
So there was a scene in here where they where they referenced that like obliquely.
Yeah.
Which I thought was I had forgotten, but Tom remembered.
Yeah, I remember.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's from Close Encounters."
Close Encounters, yeah. Ice cream. I was thinking the same thing. I was just a little bit older than him when that came out. The Barry.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing it, you know. And I saw that UFO and I says, "Man, it looks like an ice cream cone." And then the little boy goes, "Ice cream." He goes, "Yeah, it's fucking ice cream, man."
I like Close Encounters.
Great movie. Epic.
Yeah, we reviewed that one too a long time ago.
Yeah.
Tom Baker says what?
I said, and they kind of have an extended edition where it shows up inside the UFO because, man, when I first saw it, I was like, man, whatever it looked like in there. They added later what it looked like inside the alien spacecraft, which I think that probably shouldn't have done. I mean, it looked okay, but it's kind of a disappointment. Like, oh, okay, so it's more airy-fairy type looking shit in there. Okay. It was more mysterious when they didn't let you know what was inside.
That's probably why they took it out. Well, because like I said, horror movies are 99% of the time are better when they don't over-explain shit or over-show stuff. Like I said, it's much scarier to leave mystery.
Yeah.
Because you can, whatever you can imagine is scarier than whatever they can show you.
Yeah, stop trying to explain.
I mean, Stephen King even said that a long time ago.
Explain the xenomorph. Stop, stop trying to explain the predator, the Yalta or whatever they call it. Just leave it alone.
Well, like I said, and that's why sequels tend to be not as good as the original.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, we need material for the sequel. We need a new story. So it's like, obviously, we're going to explain the backstory of this. I'm just like, and you're just ruining it.
Well,
you're ruining it.
The backstory of the Yalta Predator, some of that shit's pretty cool in the extended universe. You know what I mean? And in the second one, they showed that they all looked a little bit different. Which I thought that was a cool thing. That they were, and you saw the skulls of what they were hunting, and one of them was a xenomorph.
Yeah.
So that there was enough there where you really could expand on it and still have it mysterious.
Yeah.
Now, the weirdest thing that I've heard of I just heard fans talking about it, is that the reason why those Yaltas are hunting it is to get notoriety so they can earn a mate. And the females are huge. They're like fucking 4 times as big as them.
So they could like eat them if they wanted to.
I don't know. But the more of a badass hunter you are, the bigger female you can get. That's
So it's like an entire race of short man mafia.
Yeah, it's like short man mafia. You can get a bigger one. I don't know how big they are. They were just described as huge.
Oh, okay.
Huge.
So like much bigger than the man.
Much bigger, yeah.
So like I said, they don't hunt. They could bite your head off like a praying mantis.
Yeah, and they don't hunt.
Like a lady
sit around and get fat, mantis. I guess.
That sounds nice.
It makes sense, you know what I mean? They're rednecks, and fucking most rednecks I know, they like big girls, so it's just be some fat chick sick. Every fucking cowboy in the army that I knew had he was thin and fucking had his hat and his fucking belt with that fucking thing hanging and his buckle and shit. He'd fucking pull up in his truck and you see his girlfriend, she weighed like 300 pounds.
Yeah.
So they love big girls, man.
I guess because
they're like Samoans. Samoans the same with Samoans and
they
Islanders.
Like girls
they like big girls.
They like girls that like to eat.
Yeah.
I like to eat.
that was back in the 90s though. Maybe it's different now.
Yeah. Tom Baker said, ever seen J.K. Simmons in First Snow from 2010? He played a clairvoyant predicting Guy Pearce's death. That sounds really good, actually. I'm going to write that down because I like Guy Pearce as well. I don't think I ever heard of that movie. I miss so many things. Mm-hmm. I keep up with the horror, but a lot of other stuff. Tom Baker also said, I loved your review of Legend of Hell House. It's the best on YouTube. Thank you very much. That's one of our earliest. I think that was only the second or third movie we ever reviewed.
I think so, yeah.
Like when we first started reviewing movies, like years and years and years
I
ago.
think the one that got the most hit was fucking Logan's Run.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened, but Logan's Run.
Yeah, weirdly.
Tens of thousands of hits. Fucking everybody loved it.
Recently, you know what? This is random, but you know what movie review of ours like got way more hits like last year and the year before?
Yeah.
The Others. The one with Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, for some reason, that was, like, way higher than, like, any other one. I'm not really sure why. Because that was, like, a pretty popular movie, so I feel like there's probably a lot of other reviews of it, too. But Legend of Hell House is legit one of my favorite movies in the 1970s. The book is great, too. It's, like, it's so weird. Like, the premise of it is so weird. The thing with the dude cutting his own legs off. And, like, that's so, like...
Yeah.
Okay. But, because even when I was a kid, I'm like, wait, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Try to get taller.
But yeah, I guess so. I was like, wow, that's hardcore. Yeah. But I've seen that. I think I've seen that movie probably like 100 times. I love that fucking movie. It's just there's just something about it that it's like really 70s haunted house movies are probably my favorite horror subgenre.
My favorite one is a cheap, low budget one that just kind of came and went called The Evil.
The Evil, yeah.
The Evil.
That was 78. I think that was
so.
78.
And it has several titles that have been sold to different companies at different times, but that was actually my favorite one.
That's a great one too, and kind of underrated.
Yeah, forgotten.
Yeah, a bit. We've reviewed that one too.
Yeah, and that one and the fucking one with the fucking satanic witches, the Legacy.
Yeah,
that wasn't really a haunted house movie, but it just is a witch movie.
Yeah, it's like a witch movie.
Fucking that was shit. I saw that in the theater. My fucking little babysitter took me to see it. Kimmy took me to see that back when I was a kid, and fucking it scared me, man. I loved it though. Yeah. Yeah,
there's something kind of creepy about that one.
Yeah, it's not really gory or anything. Just a bunch of weird shit happens in it.
Yeah, it's kind of like
this satanic witch.
Yeah, it's like
running
a witch
coven
thing.
He's rich as shit, and he invites all these other witches to his mansion, and he's got a private hospital in there, and he's dying, and he's gonna give his fucking powers to his like second in command, and he's trying to pick from all these other witches, and they're all rich, famous people and rock stars and shit, and they got some girl from America who's there. Was she a reporter or something? Or something, or she was just...
Yeah.
She gets an invitation to come.
Yeah, or something.
And while they're all there, he fucking basically curses them. Y'all are a bunch of fucking useless bitches, you know what I mean? He gets them to all try to kill each other. And then he starts to kill... He killed most of them. Wasn't it him that was killing them, or were they killing each other?
Now I can't even remember. I think he might have been like manipulating it somehow.
Manipulating them to kill each other, using spells.
Because he was like he was like in bed and stuff.
Yeah,
but I think he could
was
like
underneath the damn fucking. You couldn't see him. He was.
But I think he could like manipulate people.
Yeah,
like, with
he
his
started to
mind
kill
or
each other in order to be the last one, so he could get his power. It was like a battle of the witches, and they'd kill each other by eating, and somebody choked to death.
Roger Daltrey choked to death.
Yeah, he choked to death
on a chicken bone.
On a chicken bone, but he was eating pork. Is it how did he choke?
Yeah.
He was eating pork. So another dude jumped in the pool, and fucking once he dove through, it was a girl, right?
Yeah, it was a woman.
Yeah, she was nude, I think, wasn't she?
Was she?
I think she might have been nude.
Might have been, yeah.
She jumps down into the pool and she tries to come out. She can't break the water's surface. She drowns.
It's like glass on top.
It was like solid glass. It was all kinds of cool shit.
Didn't somebody fall into fireplace or something like that?
They cooked somebody and fed him to the dogs.
Yeah, that too.
Happened?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And it's a real high-end English manor. They're in England, and they were like the American chick and her husband's like, we're gonna get the fuck out of here.
That was Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
And what's her name that was in Stepford Wives?
Yeah, I forgot her name, but
Catherine Ross.
Catherine Ross. They jump in the car and try to leave. They drove there. Every road led back to the fucking mansion.
See, that kind of shit always freaks me out. That kind of shit freaks me out.
They couldn't drive out.
Like they're leaving and they're like, we went the opposite way, and then they just keep coming back to the house again. I'm like, that would be so scary.
Yeah.
That'd be so scary.
It's a good movie. If you like The Shining, you'd like it. If you like fucking horror movies and fucking witches and shit, it's good. It kind of had some of the creepiness of The Shining in it to me, but I was a kid at the time.
Yeah. Florence says, for me, I'm not feeling the two new Predator movies. Prey looks like it might be decent. Actually, Prey was pretty good. We reviewed it.
It is okay.
But the Predator design isn't doing anything for me. Same with Predator Badlands. Yeah, like, honestly, I liked Prey, but the other Predator movies were fine. I just kind of like the first. The first one's awesome, and they really didn't need to make any more. But that's true of most
Prey
movies.
didn't look real authentic to me. That's all. It had a bunch of Native Americans, but you could tell they're from California. You know what I mean? You can tell that they live in apartments.
Yeah, I get it.
And you know what I mean? Fucking, they didn't.
I mean, other than that, I liked it though.
Yeah, it was okay. It was okay.
Camp Guy says, to get to the nearest star after the sun takes 4 years going at the speed of light. Good reason not to believe in ETs. The distances are just too far. See, that's the thing. I think maybe that's why I don't like a lot of alien invasion movies. Like, it's not scary to me. Because I'm just kind of, I don't know, like, aliens are not scary bad guys to me. Unless it's like, Alien, fucking that one, the Ridley Scott movie. That was scary. But that was kind of more like they were out in space. They were in the alien territory. Aliens coming here, I can't buy it.
Well, it depends, man. The Alien versus Predators, some people talk shit about them. I loved both the Alien versus Predator movies, and those took place here, partially. Some of it was in space. And they pulled it off. When it came to Predator movies, the first one, and Predators, the third one, that's almost as good as the first one, Predators. Predator 2 is okay. Just a different tone. It's a little slapstick, kind of silly.
It was a little silly, yeah.
A little silly at certain times, but they kind of
it's like Predator in the city.
Yeah, they kind of lost control of the tone of that movie, but it was still decent. You can go back and watch it and go, yeah, it's okay. But Predators, I thought, was spot on. Other than that,
yeah, I liked Predators.
Some people didn't like the casting. Like what's that guy's name? The lead. Fucking what's his name?
Adrian Brody.
Adrian Brody. Yeah, some people didn't like.
I love Adrian Brody. I've liked him in everything I've seen him in.
Keeping his voice real deep, shit like that. Well, couldn't get Arnold. They wanted to go a different route.
And the thing about it is he got real jacked for that movie, because I saw him in a lot of movies before that, and he's pretty tall and thin and lanky.
Yeah, he's tall and lanky. He put on some weight.
Yeah, so he got in good shape for that.
Yeah, I thought he was good. What's his name was in it too, man? The dude from fucking Matrix and Apocalypse Now. When he was a kid, he played Clean. What is that guy? That guy. He was in it. He was great. Remember, he played the crazy airborne guy.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Because I'm the one you don't fuck with.
Yeah.
He's talking to himself. Him and his buddy were talking to each other, and there's nobody there. What's that guy's name? Fishburne.
Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne.
He's in it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's good in everything.
Yeah.
CB says.
Yeah. I'll tell him. Yeah, look, we don't appreciate y'all fucking with people's shit. Stop touching our shit. That was fucking funny, man.
Yeah, Tom Baker makes the observation about aliens, and they wouldn't be interested in us. Yeah, that's kind of one of the things that I could, especially something like this. Like, I could suspend my disbelief, watching this movie. I'm like, okay, fair enough. But the thing about it is that in real life, if aliens had invaded the planet, it's like, why would they come in your house and tear all your shit out of your fridge?
Yeah.
Why would they do any of that? I know they kind of explained it by saying it's like, oh, well, they're a superior intelligence. They probably have a reason. We just can't figure out what it is. Which, fair enough. Like I said, I could suspend my disbelief. But in real life,
they wouldn't give a shit.
They would not give a shit. Why would they even come here? I just feel like they wouldn't even come here.
Any biological species that could travel between stars relatively easily within their lifespans have seen everything already, and they had a huge history and database.
We would just be boring as fuck.
Their civilization would be hundreds of thousands of years old. They would have seen so many planets and so many people and places like ours. They probably wouldn't think it was interesting. It'd just be like you driving down the highway, passing a bird sitting on the side of the fucking road. You don't look at that. You see all kinds of birds. I do. I
go, birdie.
Whoa, stop. Let me stop a bird. I'm going to ask this bird. Take me to your leader. I'm going to communicate with the bird.
That'd be super funny if the bird actually did. It's like, come on.
Yeah. That's just not how it's going to work out. And if it's like a machine intelligence, they would care even less. It would be like something out of 2001: A Space Odyssey. It'd just be some monolith, super godlike intelligence. And it would just see you as another life form, and it's seen life forms everywhere. It really wouldn't care that much. It would go, oh yeah, okay, yeah, we know this kind of DNA, we know all this. Yeah, this shit's common.
Yeah.
So they're in a much bigger world than we're in.
Yeah.
They're looking at whole galaxies and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we're coming at it from the perspective of
worm's
being
eye view.
human-centric.
Yeah, human-centric.
Which aliens would not be.
They
Kevin
would
asked,
see us and go, oh yeah, these are like those ones over on what you call it.
Yeah,
we've seen these before.
yeah, they suck too.
They're everywhere. We're probably things like us.
They're like cockroaches.
Are probably over time pretty common.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Kevin asked, have you seen The Empty Man? Awesome cosmic horror. I did see it a long time ago, but I kind of want to rewatch it though, because I remember liking it, but then I was kind of like, I'm gonna give that a second viewing one of these days. So maybe it'll because I don't think I ever reviewed it. Maybe I should do that. Because I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, man, I should rewatch that. I like to kind of watch things 2 times. You know what I mean? What else? Susan Burgess says, do you guys think Fire in the Sky truly happened for the most part? Because supposedly it was based on a true story written by the guy it happened to.
We did a whole show on it.
Yeah, we did a show about Travis Walton, and I mean, Fire in the Sky is a great fucking movie, and a lot of people that like sci-fi movies think that's like the scariest one ever. Which has got some scary shit in it, like that scene where he wakes up with the experimenting and everything. Yeah, that is terrifying.
It's a very good case. It's very tight.
But I think it really happened?
It's unlikely. I think it's probably a hoax.
No.
I think it's probably just a really good hoax.
It's a good hoax.
Yeah.
Like I said, they all, as far as we know, they all passed lie detector tests.
Yeah, and they were kind of upset about it. And they really sticking to it over all this time.
Either that, or you know what might have happened is they were all out in the woods tripping balls.
No, they would have known different.
You know what I mean? And so they thought they really did see that shit? Could have been that, too.
The story, Travis runs out of the fucking... They see a UFO, Travis runs out of the fucking car, or out of the truck. They were lumberjacks. And the sun was gone down, and they ran up to it, and a lightning bolt came out of it, and accidentally killed Travis, and they fucking took off running. They gunned it, the truck, and then they went back to go get him, and he was gone. So was the UFO. And they tried to tell the cops wherever we don't know where he is, you know what I mean? And they all these lie detectors. He was gone for about a week. And then he shows up in the middle of nowhere on a payphone, telling everybody where he was, with this wild story that he woke up and they had a thing on his chest where they fucking brought him back to life, evidently, and he attacked them, but then some of them got him calm. He tried to go to the fucking control room, and he saw the fucking stars, in the control room. He said it was like a holographic control display, which that's pretty good. A lot of the shit that he said sounded kind of plausible, kind of high end for the time in which Travis lived. That their navigational system was basically a holographic display of stars. And he hit a control, and it all narrowed down into one beam, and then it came back out. But then they came and got him, and it looked like a man in a spacesuit, like a human. And he saw some other ones look like humans. Then he woke up. He fell asleep, and then he woke up here, back out in the middle of the road. So I think the story was that they used mind control on him to make them look like human beings. That's how I interpreted the story. Because it couldn't have been human beings.
Yeah.
He said they looked just like human beings when he saw them later. They were in spacesuits. And he said they were reassuring him and stuff. So I think they were making him see things. But he didn't come out and say that. It's just that's my interpretation, which that's a sign of a good fucking hoax.
Yeah.
Where they lead you to make these conclusions. They don't tell you what happened. Oh yeah. And then he doesn't say that, well, they brought me back to life. He never said that. But the story leads you to believe that he had been killed and they brought him back to life. And we're going to put him back. Because they'd accidentally killed him.
Yeah. Just like, we were just playing with him. We didn't...
Well, no, the ship was taken off. Remember, and a lightning bolt came out.
Yeah.
That's what they said. It fucking fucked him up. Killed him. He said he went flying.
I tell you what.
If it's a hoax, it's a very good hoax. And I think...
Yeah, I mean, hats off.
Yeah.
Because, and they've stuck to their fucking story
right.
all this time.
It's unlikely that's what happened. Unlikely.
Yeah, it's very unlikely.
In the single-digit percentages. I mean, there's a chance, but I don't think so. I don't think that's what happened. I don't think they made it up.
You know what? I tell you what, though. If I wandered out in the woods... Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't do this. If I wandered out in the woods and you're in the car and, like, some fucking aliens came and got me, you better not be taking off and, like, leave. Just, oh, bye. Good luck with that. You know what I mean? Oh, maybe I'll go back later and check and see if she's okay. Oh, where'd she go? Yeah, I'd be really mad.
And it wasn't like a mixture or something like they were high, or it was actually like an experimental NASA craft. No, that shit either happened or it didn't happen, because the story's too detailed and it's too tight with the witnesses. It either didn't happen or it happened. Chances are it didn't happen.
Well, yeah, those are the two possibilities. Yeah. Tiggly Toot says, love the hair, Jenny. Thank you very much. Hey. And Susan Burgess says, ditto on your hair, Jen. Thank you very much. This is probably, like I said, I got lots of favorite wigs, but I think this is probably my favorite one. Which, like I said, I didn't even think that I would like grayish white hair. I didn't think it would look good, but I was like, all right. Florence says, never seen Fire in the Sky. I have to add that to the list myself.
Yeah, and
I've seen the alien probing scene now. Yeah, that's a scene. It's on all of the like documentaries about scariest scenes ever and blah blah blah.
The movie's fairly accurate to the case, except what they did to him. That wasn't accurate. That's not what he said happened to him. You know, they kind of made it a horror scene where they're wrapping him in plastic and doing weird experiments. That's not what happened. That's not the story that he told. They
just wanted to make it scary.
They just made it scary. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good movie though. I mean, and like I said, I'm not usually into like sci-fi, like alien abduction kind of movies, but that's a really good one. And somebody, you know what? I had forgotten all about this one. I think we might have reviewed it a long time ago. Do you remember that movie, The Vast of Night? The one that was like, I think it was set back in the 50s. And it was just like, and it was aliens, and it was all done like over radios and stuff.
No.
Yeah. No, we did a review of it.
Did we?
Yeah, and you really liked it at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was in the 50s.
Yeah.
It was good, yeah.
That was like, it's not really a horror movie, but it's really, really good.
Yeah, I remember that.
I really liked that.
It was pretty good.
I really liked that movie.
It was an interesting take.
I just saw somebody mention it today, and I was like, oh yeah, man, I forgot all about that movie. That was really good. I don't remember what year it was. 2016, 2017, something like that. Maybe newer. But yeah, we reviewed it. I really liked that one too. I don't know what streaming service it's on though. Susan says, supposedly Nixon showed Jackie Gleason a real alien because Gleason believed in aliens big time.
Yeah, I heard that.
I've heard that too.
Evidently, he had a huge library of fucking UFO books in his house, like a library.
Yeah.
In one room, it was nothing but just aisles of books and shit. He was into it.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I don't know, being that into it is kind of sus to me.
It is, yeah.
It's almost kind of like you want it to be true, too much, you know. But Gleason may have made that up. There's no telling.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Although some people said that he was super serious.
About the aliens?
No, just about everything.
Oh, about everything?
Yeah.
That happens sometimes with comedians.
He was kind of a real serious guy. And that was one of the things that he was really serious about UFOs. He believed it to be true. He had all kinds of books, and he'd listen to any story. Yeah. We ought to do a show on him.
Yeah, we should. Now that you mention it, that might be kind of interesting.
It might be an interesting story, yeah.
Because, I don't know, like I said, I'm just a very naturally skeptical person. Because anybody can say anything. They can come up with whatever fucking story. Like I said, I write fiction. You can just come up with whatever.
He was friends with one of the presidents. Who was the...
she said Nixon.
Nixon? Yeah, if I remember correctly, it might have been Nixon. And I remembered that... I don't remember him saying that Nixon showed him an alien.
I have heard that story, though.
I remember it as that Nixon told him that that UFOs were real. That they had one.
Which, like I said, Nixon might have just been fucking with him.
Yeah.
Because he knew he believed in it. He's like, this will be funny. He's like trolling.
You know, we have aliens. You know.
Yeah, we've got one.
Yeah.
At Area 51.
He's hanging out with Elvis being cool and shit.
Want to see it?
Eating peanuts.
I can't show it to you, then I'd have to kill you.
Eating peanut M&Ms with Elvis.
Yeah.
I'm a president. He goes, I'm a king.
Yeah. I'm going to eat your fucking M&Ms. And I'm going to put my goddamn feet up on your desk.
They told him not to eat the president's M&Ms. They're for him. He ate them anyway. First thing he did, eat his fucking M&Ms.
Which is like I said, he's the fucking president. They could buy him more M&Ms, for Christ's sake. Quit being stingy with the M&Ms. Tricky dick.
It's a great movie. You guys want to see Elvis and Nixon. See Elvis and Nixon. It's a great Elvis movie. And that's a true story.
Michael Shannon plays Elvis.
Michael Shannon.
I love
as
Michael
Elvis
Shannon.
And
he's so awesome.
Yeah, and guys from the Memphis mob who are still living actually talked with them, and they wrote the script. You know what I mean? That's accurate. That's what happened. The day Elvis fucking decided he was going to become a secret agent and went and went to go see Nixon about it. It's fucking wild shit, man.
Yeah.
Wild shit.
Oh, Kevin corrected me. The Vast of Night is from 2019. Okay, so it's actually newer than I thought. But yeah, I remember we reviewed it because I remember somebody recommended it to me. But I think we reviewed it a couple of years back. But it's like I said, it's not really a horror movie, but it's really good. Like, it's kind of sci-fi, but like retro sci-fi. Like, it's really cool, and it's almost like a radio play, kind of. I don't know. I really liked it. Camp Guy said, my old man used to laugh like hell at the Gleason show. He was probably getting horny watching the dancers, too. Yeah. Good memories, Dad. I remember Jackie Gleason being pretty funny. Yeah, he might be actually a good... I mean, I feel like there's like kind of a lot of old-timey celebrities that would probably be interesting to do shows on.
Yeah, when you market that show, you do that... Jackie Gleason and the UFOs and the paranormal.
And the paranormal stuff, yeah, because he was real.
You won't get any hits on it.
Yeah, because everybody's like, well, younger people would be like, who the fuck is that? Okay, Grandpa.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that's like, yeah.
He was fucking. I grew up with him, the Smoking the Bandit. You know, fucking.
Yeah.
Sheriff Buford T. Justice and shit.
Buford T. Justice.
Yeah, fucking. That was back when fucking Nashville rednecks made movies for rednecks. It was rednexploitation.
Hicksploitation.
Yeah.
Or hicksploitation.
Rednexploitation. If you ask me, the difference between a hick and a redneck, but.
Yeah, they are slightly. There's a slight difference.
Redneck is Southern.
In nomenclature there.
And that was by Southerners for Southerners. Smoking the Bandit, fucking Gator. I just watched fucking White Lightning yesterday.
Yeah, I went in the bedroom last night after working and he had White Lightning on.
Burt Reynolds, the original Southern American action hero. That was our version of James Bond. Yeah.
Him like knocking down
Gator McCluskey. Gator McCluskey. That was our version of James Bond.
All the dudes' girlfriends and stuff.
Yeah, he was an ex-con. Yeah.
Not for anything bad, though. He was just like running moonshine.
Running moonshine.
Shit like that, which, that's, whatever.
Yeah, well, he did 5 years, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Susan says, The Fourth Kind is one of my most favorite movies. Yeah. I'm going to watch it one of these days. Like I said, the reviews I've heard of it have been extremely polarized. Some people said this is the best, most underrated sci-fi movie ever, and other people said this was as stupid as fuck. I don't know. I haven't seen it. It's found footage, right? Or is it like a mockumentary? I thought it was a mockumentary, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But she said that's one of my most favorite movies besides Session 9. Oh man, Session 9 is so good. Session 9 is really good. Seen those movies probably at least 10 times. Boy, did they snow us big time with that opening of The Fourth Kind. Yeah, maybe we should... I'm going to write that down because we should probably do that one of these. Because I know a lot of people have fucking talked about it. I've seen a bunch of other reviews of it. It's a few years old now at this point. But Tom Baker says, Burt Reynolds was great. I also love Joe Don Baker. He's 88 now. Yeah, that motherfucker's still alive. Yeah, I first saw Joe Don Baker and fucking Mitchell on MST3K.
Burt Reynolds is
they took the piss out of him on that show.
Burt Reynolds is becoming a fucking like a forgotten classic. Really, the younger generation don't know him.
When we were out at the club on Saturday, I don't know how we got on the topic, but we were talking about Burt Reynolds' spread in Playgirl. Yeah. Because I was like, didn't he do a spread in Playgirl, if I remember correctly? I mean, that was a long time ago, but like, that was in the 70s. Same issue I was a little kid.
In that same issue was Cassandra Peterson fucking getting it on with a dude. That's Elvira.
That's right. Because Tom was like, "Yeah, my mom had that issue."
My mom had it. Fucking, and she was a redhead. She was a redhead. I was like fucking 8 or 9.
Cassandra Peterson.
God, look at the tits on that chick.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was hot. I didn't know that was Elvira though.
Yeah.
Later on, I found, man, that was fucking Elvira.
That's Elvira,
Yeah, Cassandra Peterson.
I just remember that picture of Burt Reynolds being really, really famous. That was him.
Yeah, he was the centerfold.
Yeah, it was the centerfold.
Yeah, he's laying on it down. I think it was a bearskin rug.
Yeah, I thought it was a bearskin rug.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. Hairy as fuck. It's the 70s.
Yeah, what the fuck was that all about?
Yeah. Women bought that issue because of Burt Reynolds.
I mean, I didn't know. I was little.
They just wanted to see it.
I was a kid.
It was kind of like a collector's... It was kind of like a gag.
Well, yeah, because he's like a celebrity. Yeah, he's a celebrity. So... Man, that was just kind of like the fucking first time... Because my ex-husband was real into like fucking Chuck Norris and stuff. And he used to love all those Chuck Norris movies from the 80s. And it's like, so Chuck Norris would be in all his movies. And it's like he was like contractually obligated to take his fucking shirt off for some reason. And I'm just like, can we put that back on? Man, it's like he looked like he had a fucking bath mat on the fucking... I'm like, you need to manscape.
I remember late 70s, early 80s, everybody was fucking, or all the guys were just fucking praying that Dolly Parton would fucking do fucking Playboy. Dolly Parton was badass. You guys don't understand. When she was young, she was actually badass all the way into her 40s.
She could probably do it now.
Yeah, in her 40s, she still looked great. And no, they're not real. They're not natural. Fucking,
no, of course
they got
not.
bigger and bigger as they went.
Well,
too.
she was always very open about that.
Yeah, she told, oh no, yeah, they're store bought. She had fucking big old titties.
Yeah.
But she had a nice figure too. You know what I mean? She.
Remember
I don't know if she worked out, but
remember
probably.
a while back when we went on like a whole Burt Reynolds tear, and we did a review of The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
Yeah, great movie.
Which is a lot of fun. It's a musical.
Fun movie.
It's a musical.
Yeah.
You know, which actually Sam likes those.
Yeah.
Musicals. I like some of them. Some of them I like, and some of them not so much.
Yep.
But you know.
All right, let's go ahead and shut it down.
All right. Tigglytoot says my favorite Burt Reynolds movie is Smokey and the Bandit. I mean, that is a really good one. But he's been in a lot of really. We reviewed like a whole bunch of his movies.
See, you can see him for free on YouTube. See White Lightning, and then the sequel Gator. They're really good. There's a lot of humor in them. Sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're fun.
And I was a little kid when they in the South when they made those movies, but that was accurate to way I remember a lot of South. I think they're in Arkansas though.
Yeah, that one is set in Arkansas.
Yeah, I was in Mississippi, which was kind of like that. It looked just like that. Yeah, the same.
Yeah, it kind of brings
color.
up Deliverance. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Burt Reynolds was in Deliverance too.
Yeah, Deliverance is another.
That's a great fucking movie. I love Deliverance.
It's kind of downbeat though. That one's kind of fucking a downer. Fucking.
It is.
White Lightning and Gator are action adventure.
Yeah, they're more fun.
Yeah, yeah.
It depends on what mood you're in. Like I said, objectively, Deliverance is a better movie. Deliverance is probably one of the best movies ever, but it is a downer. That's true. Let me see. Okay, so thank you everybody for dropping by this evening. Remember to come back on Wednesday night for our main show, which actually should be a really fun one. We're gonna talk about lost media cases.
Yeah.
So I've got like this whole. I gotta narrow it down because I wrote down this whole list of like stuff that I wanted to put on there. I wanted to stick more with like lost media that were like kind of creepy. You know what I mean? Because I know there's all this stuff about, hey, this SpongeBob SquarePants, thing that like disappeared or whatever. And I'm just like, that's cute, but it's just like not all that mysterious. So I kind of wanted to do stuff that was more like on the darker end. But I might toss a couple fun ones in there too. We'll see.
You're asking, did Burt Reynolds wear a toupee? I think he did eventually.
He always got shit for that. I don't know if it was a toupee or if they were hair plugs. I think it was a toupee initially, and then I think later on, as the technology got better, I think he got hair plugs.
Yeah, the toupee was later though. That was early '80s, I think. '80s, not in the '70s, I don't think.
Probably not.
It was when he got a little older.
Yeah.
But that was like standard.
Yeah.
Hollywood was not reality. All those people were wearing makeup. They fucking had.
Well, they still do.
They fucking wearing wigs and shit.
Yeah, they still do.
Yeah.
Well, I also wear makeup and wigs because this is Hollywood. Showbiz.
Yeah, the dudes were doing it too, though.
Well, yeah. Like I said, that's gone back as far as.
Yeah.
That's what's funny. It's like people get all like weird about dudes wearing makeup. I'm like, every dude you see on TV has makeup on.
Yeah. Now.
Like on the news or like in movies or whatever, they all have makeup on.
Burt Reynolds did his own stunts usually, though. People don't realize that. Fucking White Lightning and Gator, he's doing his own stunts. And he's doing his own driving.
Yeah. And there's like, actually when we were rewatching White Lightning the other night, there's a lot of really good car chases in that.
Yeah.
That one big car chase at the end is really good.
There was a lot of element of action hero in it.
When Ned Beatty gets killed.
He was an action hero of the South.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Southern man.
He was Southern, yeah.
Yeah.
He was born in Michigan, but his family was stationed there in the military.
Yeah.
They were from the South. He's actually a Florida man.
Yeah.
Probably Panhandle.
Yeah, he's a very panhandly guy.
That's what,
Because like I said, Florida is almost like 3 or 4 different states, depending on how far south.
Panhandle is the same country as fucking Mississippi and Alabama.
And Alabama, yeah. It's pretty much Alabama South or Alabama North, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. Central Florida, I don't know what the fuck it is.
We're the DMZ.
It's a big combination of...
We're the zone in between.
Wildly divergent
rednecks
things.
And Central America.
Yeah.
Because this is Spanish Empire territory.
Yeah, true.
I mean, they really speak Spanish down there. And they were speaking Spanish before we were here.
Yeah.
Down there, so...
True.
So they said, they're coming into our country. They were here first.
Yeah,
This is Florida.
They were already here.
Florida was part of Spain. Andrew Jackson bought it.
Yeah.
And it already had Spanish speakers in it.
Yeah, they're like, we're already here, motherfucker.
Yeah.
We've been here longer than you bitches.
Yeah. In this case, here, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we're going to wrap it up. As I said, be sure to come back Wednesday night. We're going to do a Lost Media show, so that should be a lot of fun. And, yeah, so have a good rest of your evening, you guys. Have a good day tomorrow, and we'll see you guys again on Wednesday night.